What if I broke a monogamous agreement? What if I told you I lied and didn't mean it? What if my one mistake had the potential to break up a happy home? Would you wanna know? You never ever know. Or would me not being honest hurt you more? Hypothetically, of course.
It's all love.
An entanglement?
Yes. I just wanted to feel good.
August Anthony Alsina Jr., born September 3rd, 1992. Today's feature, back in 2014, was the next big thing in R&B. In 2022, that sentence would probably be written back in 2014 was supposed to have been the next big thing. In R&B, singers don't blow up that often, and it's few and far between that you find a potential superstar like August Alsina. The reason is, with R&B, unlike rap, everything is factored in and has to work in conjunction together at all times to have major success. It's a genre best described for males that women have to want to sleep with you and men want to be like you in the effect you have on women. Add to that, and probably first and foremost, you have to have a voice, the more range the better, that can consistently impress and improve. But that's not it. Does he dance as well? Is he attractive enough and young enough to become a sex symbol? Does he have the charisma to crone a crowd for at least an hour? And can all this be packaged and sold on a consistent basis? That's what artists like Trey, Songz, Chris Brown, Usher, back to the genuines of the genre have had to do. Although in Genuine's days, your voice mattered a little more than getting likes on social media. Alsina had it all, and he blew up young enough to reach all markets at some point in his career. His debut album went platinum, and from there came expectations to pick up where Trey Songz and Chris Brown were leaving off at some point, but that ended up being far from what happened. Today, August Alsina is mostly known or talked about for the quote, entanglement he had with married actress and TV show host Jada Pinkett Smith, wife of Will Smith, as if the world doesn't already know. When this entanglement news broke a few years back, it was the biggest story involving arguably the biggest celebrity of all time, Will Smith. The audacity of the story in itself shocked many that Smith would allow this entanglement to take place and not only seemingly accept it, but may have even executive produced his wife being piped down by a young and emotionally broken August. It had all the elements to make great tea and completely dominated music talk about Alsina's career. One he's been struggling with since 2017 to find a way to rebuild. Most recently, he's been in the news, apparently a victim of an attack by the hands of a leprechaun, as he describes Tory Lanez, leaving him bloodied and deep in his feelings like the Virgo he is. All that said, August Alsina was talented enough to really break through and reach his potential, but circumstances and other reasons keep him from possibly ever seeing that ceiling. What happened to August Alsina? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music. Let's get it, man.
Y'all ready to keep this thing moving?
Born in New Orleans, Louisiana, to his eventual stage name, August Alsina had a troubled upbringing, to say the least. Both his father and stepfather were addicted to drugs. The former passed away, leaving his mom to overwork to support her kids and moving them to Houston for a fresh start for a while until he moved back to New Orleans at 16. He and his mother would develop a strained relationship, and he was eventually kicked out the house and stayed in a shelter. 3 days after turning 18, his brother was killed in New Orleans, an instance his female cousin would later blame him for. Then his sister-in-law dies from cancer later on, leaving him to raise his nieces and thrust into fatherhood, moving to Atlanta to pursue his music career. Some of this playing out before he became famous, and some as recent as 2018, in the midst of his hiatus. That time away began in 2017, just 3 years into really blowing up, and was due in large part to health issues that are likely with him for the rest of his life. Stunt number 1, degenerative health issues. August Alsina got his start in music by posting videos on YouTube that eventually amassed a strong enough following that Def Jam signed him in 2012. It didn't take long for his debut album to be released a year later and to huge success, going platinum behind the singles I Love This and Numb, both bonus tracks by the time the album came out. He wasted no time releasing another album the next year that didn't sell as well as the first, landing at 14 on Billboard, opposed to his debut peaking at number 2. It would be his last album for a 3-year-long drought. From 2015 to 2018, he's basically been dealing with health issues, mainly a liver disease he opened up about later on. He says his autoimmune system is fighting against itself, causing him to constantly be sick and not in the mood to do music. It wasn't the first health scare and wouldn't be the last. In 2014, he collapsed on stage because of a seizure and was in a coma for 3 days. In 2015, he revealed he was going blind in one eye and quickly losing sight in the other, but at some point just accepted it for what it was. In reality, the music business doesn't care about your health problems, and to a certain extent, neither does the fans. They don't dispose you, but they grow older and attach to someone else that fills that void you left behind. 3 years with a song or video here and there in the midst of your ascension can make it tough on anyone to bounce back from. Stunt number 2, depression and loss. Along with his health, August also had to face the fact not only did he lose most his family members either to drugs, violence, or strained relationships, but to the success and fame he acquired that made some members resent him to the point of threatening his life. He posted a screenshot of a female cousin going off on him for changing up and letting fame go to his head, saying he couldn't come back to New Orleans or else. If that's not that bad, she went on to blame him for his brother's death and call him every name in the book. For August, since his heavy relationship with his own mother made it to where he didn't feel he had a safe place to run to, otherwise known as family, and began stages of depression that led to using Percocet to cope and developing an addiction. Broken and wounded, he meets Jada Pinkett Smith through his friend and her son Jaden Smith when she offers to help with his addiction and feeling better about himself. When the tea spilled, apparently that's exactly what she did.
I got into a different kind of entanglement with August.
In a word made famous in 2020, Pinkett Smith described her relationship with August when she and Will were separated as an entanglement she got into with him, alluding to it being sexual and well within the bounds since her and husband were on the mend. As if this didn't add more drama to Alsina's life and deter even more from his music. It was all everyone ever talked about after, and not him still grieving from multiple family member loss and a depression deep inside, all the while caring for his brother's kids after he and his wife died by 2018. Music was far from his mind, much less the rat race to be popular in music enough to sell records. Stunt number 3, not a hit maker. And lastly, in my opinion, I think one thing August doesn't have in the equation of being a popular R&B act was he never was the super hit maker everyone expected him to be. He's never had a top 10 song in the US, despite his most popular song being number 4 on the US R&B charts back in 2013. After that, it's been mid ever since. He's been featured on hit songs like with Kevin Gates on I Don't Get Tired and DJ Khaled, Gold Slugs and Do You Mind 2015 and 16 respectively, but not one of his own. He released a 27-song album in 2020 upon his return to music in the midst of being his hottest since 2017 due to the entanglement talk, yet still the album flopped, peaking at 48 on Billboard and not producing any major hits or lasting impressions, mainly because when it comes to making hits like a Chris Brown, he doesn't have that capability, finding quality production as well. It's 2022 now, and he rarely puts out new music or music videos, or an album whether people still care or not doesn't seem to be coming anytime soon. All in all, August Alsina is a great singer that I think dealt with a little too much trauma being the person he is, that it didn't give him the environment to grow as an artist, nor enjoy what he was building. From family to health to not having the success he expected, all came at one time and pushed him out the spotlight. Can he find his way again? I guess we'll see. But for these reasons, his growth was stunted. Salute, much respect. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music, and I'm out.